Assalamualaikum. This is Figure Speaker, the ultimate blueprint to build a business as a highly paid professional speaker. Brian Tracy will be the topic of our group's presentation today. My group includes me, Miss Nur Atika Nabila, Miss Intan Dayana, and Miss Emma Noriliana. Who is Brian Tracy? A summary of his works, and most importantly, how to become a professional speaker, and the final stage to become a highly paid speaker comprise the presentation substance.
Who actually Brian Tracy? Brian Tracy is a Canadian-American motivational public figure and self-development author. He is the author of over 80 books that have been translated into 1,000 of languages. His popular books are Earn What You Are Really Worth, Eat That Frog, No Excuse, The Power of Self-Discipline, and The Psychology of Achievement. On his career, Tracy is a chairman and chief executive officer of Brian Tracy International, a company he founded in 1984 in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Brian Tracy International sells counseling on leadership, selling, self-esteem, goal strategy, creativity, and success psychology. The company is headquartered in San Diego, California. Prior of founding his company, Tracy has served as the chief operating officer of a development company. He served as the president of 3 companies headquartered in Solana Beach, California.
Other than that, Brian Tracy has consulted more than 1,000 companies and addresses more than 5 million people in 5,000 talks and seminars. He also has studied the research, written, and spoken for 13 years in the field of economic, history, business, philosophy, and also psychology. He also speaks to corporate and public audience about the personal and professional development, including the executive and staff of many of American largest corporations. That's all about Brian Tracy.
It's a must-read for anyone who wants to create a successful speaking career. Inside the 6-figure speaker, you'll get all the tips, tricks, strategies, and secrets Brian has used to build a speaking empire. This book will show you the 7 habits all the 6-figure speakers use to stay fully booked, charge higher fees, and delivers the type of speeches that get them rebooked again and again. The 4-point bullet plan for a 20-minute speech and how to easily expand it for 40, 60, and even 90-minute speeches. How to craft an electrifying title to your speech that has people saying, "I've got to hear that," even if they have never heard of you. A step-by-step action plan to take everything you have learned and start building your business as a 6-figure speaker today.
Thank you Atika Nabila and Emma Noriliana for the speech. Hi everyone, my name is Intan Dayana and I will elaborate about the goal as a speaker, the most important part to become a good speaker, and persuasion and influence. Chapter 4, Your goal as a speaker. How to be a good speaker? Firstly, you must have a goal. Your goal to become a speaker is to impel, influence, and persuade the audience to perform a specific action that would not have taken place in your absence. You can learn to motivate the audience and learn how to become effective speaker. Successful effective speaker definitely can motivate your audience so that they can think, feel, and act differently as a result of your speech. Peggy Noonan, a speech writer for Ronald Reagan, once said, "Every speech has a job to do." Yes, exactly. Your speech has one job, one objective, and you must understand well about your speech. You must get clear by set the objective questions and ask yourself, as well the host. What do you want the audience to get from the speech? What do you want them to do differently after the speech? From this, actually you can plan and prepare accordingly so that you can accomplish the mission successfully.
The next step is to get over your anxiety of giving speeches in public. First thing first, you need to get your confidence up. Prepare yourself psychologically for the moment just before you are about to be presented. You must convince yourself that you can achieve your goals. Consider yourself target demographic next. Put yourself in a position of a mental dominance over the people who are watching you. One last thing, show attitude. Putting your gratitude for the chance to be heard into practice is very important. The following topic that we discussed was how to increase one's level of confidence and competence. You need to picture things before you can move on. Changing the way you see yourself in your head is the first step forward, improving your performance on the outside. In addition to that, train your intellect. Before you go to bed at night, try envisioning yourself giving a successful presentation of what you have prepared for the next day. This is one technique to boost your self-assurance when speaking in public. Fear, warn, audience, visualize, and pumping are the 5 essential points you must understand in order to summarize this subtopic. Fears are acquired during childhood. Fears also learned, but they also can be unlearned. The urge to communicate your message will assist you in overcoming your anxieties. The audience is on your side during your presentation. They desire your success. Visualize delivering an outstanding speech to calm your nerve before a speech. Before delivering a speech, practice pumping yourself up, considering your audience, and being appreciative to lessen your anxiety.
Hi, I'm Emma. I will present how to do the perfect presentation. In the single most valuable approach to increase the amount of the money you make as a speaker, as well as the number of the repeat customer and recommendation you get, is to provide the presentation that is outstanding. The type of the presentation will blow away your audience and make your host very happy. You will get an understanding of the components that make up the ideal presentation. You will learn the significance of preparation as well as the method prepared necessary for success. You will acquire the knowledge to how to provide a discussion that flows seamlessly, as well as how to start and close with a bang. First is the key ingredient. To begin, you have to have an interest in the topic and interest in the way in which the topic might have a beneficial effect on the life of other people before you can do anything else. The significance of this cannot be underestimated. Second is the length of your talk. The longer the duration of the talk that has been to delivered, the less time there is to prepare the preparation. Third is the shorter the talk, the more difficult. The point of the earlier lesson is that the longer you have to prepare the lecture, the less time you will have to actually speak. You need to be ready in advance in order to exactly cut down the available option inside a large amount of time. When you have the whole day to speak, you have the opportunity to fill the time with tales, example, and other topics are related to your discussion. Down contrast, if you just have 20 minutes, you will need to zero in the most important aspect of communicate your message effectively. Fourth is how to prepare. Preparation is very important. Remember the acronym CANEI, CANEI, continuous and never-ending improvement. Read as much as you possibly can on the art of conversation. You need to have a large collection of books and recordings that pertain to public speaking. This will spare you years of hard effort in the process of becoming a fluent speech. Go and hear what the other speaker have to say. Seek, question, and ask for guidance. Inquire as to what aspect of their life had the biggest impact while you are driving. Entertain yourself with audio program that teach people how to improve their public speaking. Repeatedly listening to them is a good idea. You should get feedback on your public speaking and also provide feedback to other speakers when you attend that engagement. Take note and be sure to share your thoughts. The cumulative effect of all this will hasten the pace of you improve.
Fifth is do your homework. Find out everything that's going on in the sector and a market before you give a talk to a group of experts, since you need to completely up to date before you do so. Here are some things to look out for when planning and preparing the speech. First is find out what the local environment is like. It's important to be aware of this and to bring up in your introductory remark. If you don't, the audience will be preoccupied with the sporting event and you will feel like an outsider, unable to connect with your audience. Second, keep in mind who else they heard lately. Who else has spoken to them and what about? How did they react to other speakers? Did they like what they heard or were they disappointed? Third is start with the end in mind. 6 is planning a smooth delivery. For every occasion, a speaker has 3 talks. First is that is the talk the speaker planned to give. Second, that is the talk that speaker actually delivered in front of the audience. Third is the talk the speaker wished he had given as he reflects on the way home. Firstly is move seamlessly from the point to point. You should plan the transition from one point to the next in such a way that is it immediately obvious to your audience that you have completely your discussion of the previous point and are going on to the next one. This will keep them interested as well as clear up any possible doubt about the subject that you have presented. Practice. It pay off. Practice and preparation are worth their weight in gold. Thirdly, put your point on your index card. Consider putting your key point on the 3 by 5 inch or 5 by 8 inch index card in the large letter. Give your talk to the small group first. A final way you can ensure you give a smooth delivery is to give your talk to the smaller, friendlier group multiple times before you get in front of the larger, less personal audience. 7 is a simple structure for the short talk. Here is the simple 3-part structure you can use to design any speech. Part 1 is the opening. You can simply open with what you're going to say in your speech. Second is the second part is where you deliver on the promise of the opening. Third is here is your summarize what you told to the audience. And lastly is the prep formula. Once you have your point, you can use the prep formula for each point in your presentation. P, point of view state your opinion, idea or fact at the beginning. R is the reason state your reason for you holding this point of view. E, example, reinforce your point of view with an example. P, point of view, restate your first P to emphasize your idea and come full cycle.
Chapter 7. the most important part. The most important part of the speech is the opening. The opening is important in order to attract your audience from the beginning to pay 100% attention of the entire speech. Here are a few ideas how to start your speech effectively. Firstly, you must thank the organizers for inviting you to the program. And don't forget to thank your audience for spending their time for your speech. By doing this, indirectly you are actually connecting with your audience, as the compliment make them feel comfortable with you. Remember, the first impression is important. Next, you can start with a positive statement. For instance, tell your audience that you are going to share something very meaningful and something very attractive, so that your audience will enjoy and pay attention till the end of the speech. By using the current events or news, you also can capture your audience attention, as they will be curious about the hot topic that you're going to share later. Last but not least, start your speech with a story. A stock phrase is the best idea to keep your audience attention. Once upon a time. Yes, people love to hear this, as this is a normal practice for a storytelling, and this technique will make them wanted to know more about the speech. They will eagerly be waiting. What will happen next? Done with the opening. And now, how to end the speech. To have a powerful conclusion, you must plan your ending. Word for word. It will become easier if you plan your ending from the beginning, which before you plan the whole speech. Other than that, you can end your speech with a call to action. You can wrap up your speech strongly and powerfully, end it energetically, and deliver the final point. A speech must have a summary. Summarize your speech by listing down the main key points and show your audience how it is linked to each other. Oh, remind them and hint them that your speech approaching to the end. You also can close your speech with a story. As I mentioned before, people love stories. You can finish this by illustrates the key points and reflect it clearly. Finish your speech with a moral story and something very meaningful yet memorable. As a result, you will get a standing ovation if your speech is well delivered. Don't forget to appreciate your audience.
To become a top 20% speaker, there are 4 important points you need to know. Firstly, excellent subject knowledge. Need a subject that people really want and need and care about. Next, ability to give an excellent presentation. Must really be good at conveying your material. Besides recognizing your customer, there are always 2 customers when you are speaking, the payer and the payee. Lastly, juicy title. It must be something that appeals to people instantly and makes them come to hear you. How to become a speaker in the top 20%. Set specific objectives for every aspect of your organization. Determine priorities and concentrate on valuable projects. Select the top talent and maintain your concentration. Develop quicker solutions. Finally, motivate individuals to achieve top performance. To conclude this subtopic, you should focus your speeches on topics that people are eager to pay to learn more about. Each speech serves a purpose. Give your speech an enticing title. You have 2 customers, those who requested your speech and those to whom you are speaking. Speak and concentrate on one topic only. Finally, sell as many days as you possibly can.
Thank you. Now I will talk about working. The rule. The majority of our communication is done via non-verbal means. In the same way that you should concentrate on the content of your talk and the idea that you will offer, you should always concentrate on how to work the room and how to engage the audience via the use of your physical presence. First, check out the facility. Arrive early. Prefer the day before and familiarize yourself with the entire setup. Not only this will make a powerful impression with the event organization, but it will avoid potential problem in the future. Never assume that someone else is going to care as much as the setup as you do. Many of the people who are setting up meeting room are minimum wage workers who entire aim is to get the job done and get out. Second is mix with your audience. Your goal is to connect with the audience. As such, you should get a sense of them before they talk. Mingle with the meeting planner and some of the audience before you talk. Introduce yourself and try to learn a bit about them. Audience member always enjoy talking to the speaker, and you also get to know what they are thinking and feeling. This will increase your connection to your audience and help you deliver an outstanding talk. Third is look directly people in the audience. As you speak, if you look directly at the person, everyone behind that person forming a V shape. Feel like you are speaking directly to them. Look and speak directly at a member of your audience in all four parts of the room. The more people you feel you speaking to them, the more connection they feel and the more engaged they will be with your message. Fourth is creating audience rapport. The more your audience like you, the more open they will be to be influenced and persuaded by you. Smile and be warm and genial when you stand before them. The more you enjoy yourself, the more the audience will enjoy being with you. The more people will like you, the more receptive will be your message. Build audience involvement by asking questions. People are conditioned to answer questions, even if they don't know the answer or it's theoretical question. A question grabs the person's attention. A question forces them to search their mind for an answer. A question engages your audience.
Dislike the summary of working the room. First, arrive early to ensure that everything is prepared the way you want it. Make sure you familiarize with the setup the way you want it. Second, mix up with your audience and your host before you talk, so you don't feel like you're an outsider. Third, be warm and use the question to build rapport with your audience on the stage. So you have two-way communication and the audience will react back to you.
Chapter 10. Persuasion and Influence. What if I told you that we actually make a sale every day? No, not everyone is actually a salesperson, but everyone is involved in some capacity. Regardless of what you are doing, you are always trying to convince others to agree with you, correct? Even our daily routine, getting our family to go out to dinner or getting our children to go to the bed, this is actually a sale. No one thinks of themselves this way, which no one realizes that they are actually making a sale. Brian Tracy have experienced this in his speech, where he used a persuasion technique to attract people to admit they are actually making a sale. From Brian's experience, if we ask direct question like he asked all the senior accountants that joining the session, which is how many people here are in sales, the room went so silent. Nobody raises the hand. They thought that the question is actually asking who have the experience selling something, but it's the other side. When Brian Tracy rephrased the question to how many people here are really in sales. A moment later, one of the senior executives raised their hand. Then, one by one, raised their hand. This shows that people will easily be persuaded by others. Everyone is in sales, indeed. It doesn't matter who you are, the ability of yourself is the key success of your life. Selling yourself, selling your ideas. To sell something, you must give a presentation in front of the audience. There are many similarities between making a sales presentation and speaking in public. It's easier for your audience to accept your message if you have gained their trust and they like you very much. The more they trust you, the more open they are to your recommendations. As in sales, the goal of speech making is to persuade listeners to act or think in a different way than they would have done otherwise. We all have a decision to make. You have the option of being persuasive and influential, or passive and docile. If you want people to cooperate with you, you can either persuade them to do so or simply cooperate with them yourself. You get to make the call. The good news is that you can learn to sell. Even the most successful salesperson have struggled at some point in their careers. Many of the top 10% of today's sales people begin their careers in the bottom 10% of the market. You can develop your sales abilities through practice and repetition. Reduce their fear. Increase your effectiveness. No one wants to be talked into something they will regret. Thus, new prospects are conditioned from past experience to be cautious, doubtful, and suspicious. Your job as a speaker in persuasive speaking is to reduce the fear and replace it with confidence. Can it be done? Yes, of course, definitely can be done. Credibility is the most important to be success in public affairs, speaking, selling, and business. The more people believe in you, the more people would like to be persuaded and influenced by your speech. There are 7 steps to sell effectively. First, prospecting. Finding people who can and will buy your product or service is the first step. The first step is to figure out who your ideal customer is and what they look like. Second step is establishing rapport and trust. You can do this by asking good questions about the prospect's personal and professional life, and also listening attentively to the answers. Explain to them how your product or service has benefited others in a similar situation to theirs by citing case studies. The more they trust you, the more likely they are to be influenced by your words and actions. Next step is identifying needs accurately. Determining that this is a genuine prospect and establishing rapport and trust will put you ahead of the majority of people in the sales conversation. However, the customer will only become interested if you and the customer agree that they have a genuine and immediate need that your product or service can meet. Almost always, the prospect will ask you a series of questions about price, terms, and conditions. When a customer raises an objection, the salesperson acknowledges it, compliments the customer for raising it, and then explain how the objection can be easily overcome. The sixth part of selling is the closing. Your success will determine by your ability to help the customer make a firm decision and overcome any hesitation. Lastly, to get resales and referrals from the satisfied customer. After the sale, give careful consideration to how you will treat your customers. Your goal is to make them so happy that they will come back to you and tell their friends about you.
To be a competent and highly compensated speaker, there are 4 primary considerations. Determine your speaker topic and how much to charge. Locating speaking engagement. Marketing yourself, how to position and market yourself as a speaker. And lastly, negotiating speaking engagement. That's all from us. Thank you.